Hey guys, it's Eric Weingarten with Weingarten Racing. I get to see my ugly mug again. It's been a busy week, so let me describe why it's been busy, and because I know several of you probably have tried calling like this guy isn't answering. Well, Tuesday I had to load up to go to the dyno on Wednesday because on Wednesday I went to Dunsworth Machine Shop in Enid to re-dyno the small block Chevy dyno mule. Went there Wednesday to reinstall the heads because I took off the heads that were on it because before I had the ProMax 235 CNC heads that were my design, and I switched them for the AFR 227 competition ports. Put those heads on Wednesday, and then Thursday the entire day, and I do mean the entire day, I was dyno testing. As soon as I got done doing that, on Friday my son had a swim meet, so literally got back Thursday night, unloaded at 9, went to bed, got up at 5 to be at the swim meet on Friday. Here we are Saturday on this wonderful hotel, and he also swims Sunday, so I won't be back in the shop and do anything until Monday. But now the real question is, what did you dyno test? Well, I did a lot of cool stuff. So let me tell you what was tested. You're going to love this. I obviously changed the heads to the AFR 227 competition ports so you can see what power they made over the 235s. And then I tested intake manifolds because you know I do that. So the first one was the Victor Jr. that's been port matched, the old one. That's been the best one when it was on the AFR Enforcer heads. Once it got the ProMax Project X heads, the 215s, others had beat it. But it's been really good manifolds. So tested that manifold, but then the three that you guys really want to see are the tunnel rams. I tested 3 tunnel rams: the Holley Pro Dominator tunnel ram, the Edelbrock Street Ram, which I've tested before with other heads before, and then the Edelbrock Victor Ram got tested. And on the Edelbrock Victor Ram, I also tested a single carburetor top for a Dominator. Those are probably going to be the most interesting for most of you because you're always curious. I'm going to give you a little heads up, a little sneak preview. The Holley Pro Dominator was the best. A new horsepower record on the engine now is 647 and was done by that. So that was a really cool test. After that, went to the Edelbrock 2970, which is the Super Victor for a Dominator, and that thing really did well too. And then I tried E85. So I have done, if you go back and look in the past, you'll see when I took my 355 that was in the S10 and dynoed it on 3 fuels, the gas, E85, and methanol. I thought I'd redo it on this one, and for whatever reason, it didn't make more power. It made less power, and spent way a lot of time on that too. So tried, and the customer had sent in, by the way, a Da Vinci, which it's not the Da Vinci's thing. That carburetor was not designed for this motor, but anyway, thought I'd give it a chance. Doesn't really matter, but mess with that E85 versus gas, and then because you guys requested it, I did this. I went to the dual plane manifold, which is the AFR dual plane, and put the 1000 CFM 4150 carburetor on it and dynoed it. Then, because you asked for it, I put the Dominator on it. And I'm going to say it again, that Dominator is like the Frank's Red Hot Sauce. You put that shit on anything because it makes more power. And it did again on the dual plane. Then I also tested tri-Y headers versus what we've been using before. And that was all that. Now if you're like, man, that's really cool stuff, I can't wait to see it. You know what? Here's what I'll do. If you go to my website, wengines.com, on the homepage, you'll see a link to my online store. I think it's Weingarten Racing at braveshop.net. The very first thing you could purchase is dyno donations, and they're $20. If you purchase that, I will text you the dyno graphs that show the comparison. I won't text you the raw numbers because, one, I don't have them on my phone anyway, and I won't be back to the shop until, like I said, Monday anyway. But you'll get the dyno comparison, so you get to see how much difference the power of the heads have been tested so far, how the curves look between the tunnel rams. You get to see what happened with the 85 as far as the curve goes, how the tri-Ys. You get to see all that. It costs $20, so it's a really good deal. So please purchase that. It helps things if you want to see. Otherwise, if you're like, I'm not spending you a dime on some person on YouTube with your mediocre channel. I actually had someone say that. I get that. And then what you're going to have to do is you just wait for me to put out the video, because I still have to dyno the 540. Well, I've already done the 540, but I have to do the videos for that. And then I'll start doing the videos for the small block Chevy. So in other words, you're going to get to see it. It's just going to take time. So I want to make sure I get the video right. Anyway, so that was what happened this week. So if you're wondering, like, why didn't you answer the phone? I was probably putting together the engine. And I was just busy. That's the best way to put it. However, I do want to thank all the viewers that made this testing possible, because let me go ahead and tell you, a viewer sent the Holley Pro Dominator tunnel ram to test. Without that, wouldn't have happened. Another viewer sent the linkage, which by the way is a pain in the rear for that tunnel ram. Without those, that wouldn't have got tested. If you were also sent in the Victor Ram and also the Street Ram, without those, wouldn't have been tested. If you were also sent in the E85 carburetor, without that, wouldn't have been tested. Another one sent in the Tri-Y headers, without the viewers, wouldn't have been tested. So it's really thanks to you guys that any of this stuff really gets tested, because if it was just strictly me, far less stuff would get tested because my budget only allows certain things. So what's coming up for that as far as in the future? The small block's going to get a little rest because the next thing that goes on the dyno is going to be the 540 mule. We're going to test the oil pans, like I said. Then the small block goes back on, and we're going to test the Vortex supercharger. I am going to have to change pans because this thing leaked like a son of a gun. If you look at the clip, you're like, that's not your small block dyno mule. It's got different valve covers on. Yeah, I had to switch different valve covers because the ones we run in before were short, and they hit the shaft rockers. So we put these Morosos on. Don't recommend. With the cork gaskets. And they leaked. They would kept coming loose. So you tighten them down, you make about 2 dyno runs, and they start coming loose. So if you're like, man, it looks like you got a lot of blow-by. Well, now really what's happening is the oil is spraying out of the valve cover rail, landing on the headers, and then it's smoking, and it looks like I've got blow-by. Which I do think it's starting to get some. It's definitely getting some wear. I think we've got 284 now dyno pulls on it. A lot. So got to switch pans before we put the supercharger on, and then I'll be testing that. So that's it. And I don't even know how long that's going to be because I really want to run the S10. The track's actually open today, but I'm busy, which I'll talk about in a minute. And then eventually I'll make it back. But that kind of wraps up why I've been busy. However, my swim Tulsa shirt. I am here in Bartlesville in this wonderful tower that you probably hear some wind chimes going because my son's having a swim meet right now. And it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. He got to swim yesterday. He swam the 100. And for whatever reason, it's been... Oh, I should point out, this is the end of the technical part. So if you want to stop, I get it. This is dad boasting. He swam the 100 yesterday. He did okay. But it's been his albatross. He just seems like he keeps almost doing the same time. Then he swam the 1,000 freestyle, which I don't know that he's ever done it, but he had a qualifying time. He did a 10:45, which if he went to the beginning of the year, this season, it'd be taking his fastest 500 that he's ever swam and making it back-to-back. And that's what he did in the 1,000. He went like a 10:45. He ended up finishing 9th overall in that. So he was okay with that. He really wanted faster than the 100. Today, he just got done swimming his relay. And he did really good. He did like a 23.94 in his leg for the 50. But then the big one that he wants is the 500. That's later today. 500 yards. He wants to get underneath 5 minutes. He's been a 5:04. Say a little prayer. God make his legs kick faster. Something like that. And we'll see. But this is a fast meet. And I say this because you're like, well, I thought high school state was fast. No, club state is faster. Because remember, in high school, they can only swim 2 events. And club, they could swim, I think, up to 6, actually. There's a boy here that just had an Olympic qualifying time. So let me explain what that is. You've got your basic times just to qualify for this event. So you got to make a certain time to qualify this. They don't let anybody in. A certain time to qualify. The next cut after that is you have to have a certain time to make something called sectionals, which is in a couple weeks. Bishop doesn't have those times, unfortunately, yet. Then they have like juniors, and then they have nationals, and then they have Olympic cuts. This kid did an Olympic trials cut time, which means he's now qualified to go to the Olympic trials to try to make the Olympic team. His name is Griffin Craig. He's the fastest one in Oklahoma. He did it in backstroke. Cool cat. I mean, he's a real legitimate, good kid. Bishop talks him at time to time. Good kid. Very, very fast swimmer. Yeah, he's here. And there's other ones that are right there with him. So I'm telling you, this group is loaded. By the way, in case you wonder, does it mean he's going to make Olympics? Maybe. I hope so. I really do. Because, he's a good kid. He should, maybe I would like to see him. But just to give you an idea, you're just making the Olympic cut time. That means you get to go to the trials in Indianapolis in June, which Bishop's trying to go to that. We're trying to go. That's talk about expensive. But anyway, they only take 2. So there might be 100 kids that make that time to get a chance, or 100 people, because they can be adults too. We're talking about college swimmers as well. Out of that group that made the time, they'll race off, and the top 2 go to the Olympics. So he's still got a long road to go, but he's made next step. Who knows? Anyway, Bishop's got to swim tomorrow too, and we'll see how he does. Anyway, that wraps it up. I'll probably tell you next week how he did, but I'm proud of him anyway. He could be a last slowest person here. I'm proud of him. Don't care. And I just like that he's working hard for some goal. So I know it's not racing for his car wise, but it's whatever goal he wants as long as he keeps pushing himself, and he for sure does. So say a little prayer that his legs kick a little bit harder and he goes a little bit faster. You guys take care. Remember, I do not port cast iron heads. I appreciate every single one of my viewers. Take care.